Hey, beautiful souls. It's Miss Yana. Look, I want to tell y'all about this dream that I had. So I had a dream about, it was me, it was a guy, and it was a female. And we were all in this room. The guy was pacing back and forth, like at the back end of the wall. It was this really huge blow-up bed that was in the middle of like middle right side of the floor of the bedroom. And it was the woman, she was sitting on the bed close to the back part of the bed, like she was trying to like sit close to the guy, but the guy was not focused on her. He was just kept pacing back and forth. And it's like he acknowledged that I was there. He acknowledged that she was there, but he was like, because he would glance over at us, but he was confused. He was in a state of confusion. And so the bed was a blow-up bed, like a king-size blow-up bed. And the bed on the, where, I don't know if you all have ever had a blow-up bed before, but where the nozzle is, like, it looks like the bed had been cut open. Now, the young woman, she was sitting on the bed. I wasn't sitting on the bed, but I saw that the bed had caught fire. Now, the young woman, she didn't even get up. She didn't panic or anything. It's like the man and the woman didn't even recognize that the bed was on fire. I was the only one to acknowledge that the bed was on fire, and I was the only one trying to put the fire out, right? But she never budged. And like the whole inside of the bed it had been caught on fire. And I just kept trying to put the fire out. And, for a little while, like the fire would not go out. And it's like the woman was sitting there. She was sitting there. I need to find my tea. She was sitting there in distress. She was quiet and she was like distressed. And like, I guess like she was waiting for him, to stop pacing. Now, me on the other hand, I wasn't focused on anything but putting the fire out, because I'm like, nobody sees this but me. And it was almost like I was in the room again. I know that he acknowledged me. She did not acknowledge me at all. She never once looked at me. She never said anything to me or anything. But I remember by the time I put the fire out, the guy was walking over to me trying to give me an explanation. Now, mind you, he acknowledged her in the room too, but he was not paying attention to her. He wasn't stunned her. Now, the confirmation that I got from that dream, for someone, I do feel like this is a direct message for somebody. This is a third party connection. There's someone, and I think this woman who was trying to put out the fire is the one that was either cheated on or is either going through a divorce. And this guy, he ran over to her at the end of her putting the fire out to try to give her some type of explanation, but she wasn't me in the moment. I wasn't stunned what he was talking about. I was trying to figure out why the bed was on fire, but what had happened was, I think the fire was representation of the situation between him and the other woman that was on the other end, in chaos and turmoil. Because mind you, the young woman, she was distressed. Like, she was stressed, like depressed. She was really, really stressed and depressed. And he wasn't focused on her, but I think that him and that young woman, that woman had been sleeping together. Something caught fire, something came to the light, and there's somebody that is about to receive an apology or explanation for somebody stepping outside of their relationship. And if that's not the case, there's a guy, again, he was in confusion at first, but he ended up making his decision at the end, and he walked right past that woman to the person who was putting out the fire. And it's almost like he made a decision. He was in a state of confusion about these two women. He was sleeping around with the other woman, and I don't really know his like direct connection to the woman that was putting the fire out, but she seemed to be someone who was more concerned about the safety of them all in that moment. Um, Whoever that woman is, I feel like she is a nurturer. She is loving, and that guy recognizes that. And this other woman, I feel as though she came in between them because, mind you, it was a bed. She was sitting on the bed, and the guy was over on the other end pacing. He was not far from her. He was really close to her, but he was far from the other woman who was putting out the fire. And I'm going to tell you all something else that confirms what I feel like this was a third party connection going on. Because at the end, after the fire was put out, he ran over to the woman that put out the fire and tried to give her an explanation. Like, he was standing there, like, trying to explain with his hand, both of his hands out, like, trying to give her an explanation, right? But the explanation wasn't, and I'm assuming now when I really think about it, the bed catching fire means that they were sleeping together, and the guy was clearly trying to give some type of explanation to this woman. And yeah, that was pretty deep. So there is an apology that's coming to somebody, or an explanation that's coming to someone in reference to someone stepping outside of their relationship. I do feel like the bed catching fire was a symbolism, or symbolizes that the situation between the third party or the other woman has came to an end. It's caught fire. It is over with because that woman was in distress. But then there's another dream that I had. It's like 3 dreams back to back. And I think this was just God's way of confirming this situation. So, mind you, prior to this dream, now there are dreams that I was supposed to have been recorded and gave you all, that I've been trying to, like, make sense of myself. So anyways, this same woman, whoever this woman is, this same exact woman was stirring up a pot, like she was whipping up some really demonic, diabolic things. And I couldn't see everything in the pot, but the pot, there was smoke or steam coming from the pot. And she was saying, I'm doing this because I can't remember words for it. I'm doing this because you have him now, and that's not fair. He did me like this, that, this, and that. And I remember in the dream, now sometimes I have dreams and I don't look like myself. I look like someone completely different. Completely different. And me as this woman, I'm standing there saying, well, what do you mean? He did me the same way he did you. So things are not better. I'm getting it worse than you. This is now me, mind you, me talking to this lady, stirring up this pot. There was some type of witchcraft and voodoo involved in this situation. I do kind of, the feeling that I was getting was that this girl was whipping up something against this man and this woman to not be together or something, and to cause chaos in their relationship with one another. And I think this was the same woman that was sitting on a bed. And man, and so I remember that dream ended, and then another dream came, and the lady was sitting there. She wasn't whipping up anything, and she was sitting there like she was exhausted. And she said, I'm tired. She said, you won. You have it. And so there is someone, God has been fighting your wars and your battles for you. Someone has put witchcraft on your relationship with either your husband, your fiance, or your significant other. You're in your relationship period. Someone bewitched your relationship. Someone hexed him or tried to hex the both of you all to cause turmoil and chaos. I'm not sure if things were going well from the very beginning and all of a sudden things just switched up and turned, because he either was still messing with this woman when you all got together. I do feel like this woman was somebody that was there in his life prior to you, that he probably refused to let go of the connection or the sex or whatever the case may be. However, you all, you know, you all have been praying. You've been praying for change and changes, and God is bringing about those changes to you all. And I think that this dream is a confirmation to let you know that the things that you've been praying for between him and that woman is finally coming to an end. Now, you may be exhausted. You may have already given up on this person, but I'm here to let you know that she's no longer able to dig her hand into your situation and your relationship, because now it's in God's hands. Now, mind you, let me tell you about the third dream. In the third dream, it was me as another different woman this time. And it was this guy, the same guy, but in the dream, him and I were married. We ended up getting married. Now, I think that this other woman, the same woman, I'm saying the same woman, but I don't quite remember if the woman looked at the same or not. But anyways, there was a woman that he was holding his phone. It's like he had opened the door, or you were getting out the car with your husband, and he walked over and he was opening the door for you, but you noticed that when he was walking off, he was looking down in his phone and he was texting, right? And you were asking him, like, what's going on? Like, because he just seemed so engaged. It was almost like he opened the door for you, but that was it, right? And so you started fussing at him, like, what do you have going on? Like, what's going on? You know, like, but he wouldn't tell you. He was lying about it. And then as, you know, you're conversing with him, he comes out and he started telling you, you know, about his ex, that she had messaged him. You didn't believe it because you noticed that he was trying to hide. He was hiding his phone. He didn't want you to know. But eventually at towards the end of the conversation or the debate or the argument with him, he showed you in his phone. Now, mind you, he wouldn't really show you the messages that he sent her. However, you were able to see a video. You clicked on, she sent him a video. And in the video, she was crying. She was crying. She was crying. She was crying and she was distressed, and her hair was like messy, and she was just, you know, I guess she had just got a new job, and she was trying to show him the type of work that she was doing. She was trying to prove a point to him. She was trying to get him back from you. Mind you, you and him both had gotten married. You're married now. But she was trying to intervene. This lady was so stressed. It was ridiculous. She was extremely stressed out. I mean, she was crying all through the messages, and she was sending videos, and she was crying and telling him, well, I'm doing better for myself, and I'm doing this and I'm doing that, and like she was working at a factory job or something like that. But mind you, by this time he had already moved on with his life. But the enemy is trying, I believe that the enemy was using that woman to intervene in your relationship or your marriage. God is not going to allow that to happen, and that's the reason why she was distressed. Now, he was hiding. My thing is, me as the woman in the dream was trying to figure out, why the heck are you hiding this? Why are you hiding this? What do you have? Like, what are you doing? And eventually I said he ended up coming out and telling that he hadn't messaged a woman, that she had been messaging him. And I do feel like that this ex-person is going to try to intervene in your relationship, but God is not going to allow that to happen. She lost. You won. You need to continue, or all you have to do is continue to ward off the enemy's attacks through her and any other woman or man with your prayers. That's it. Now, I think all three of these dreams, or all of these, four of these dreams were just, I believe personally that they were connected. That in the first one, she was whipping up something, witchcraft or something, to either make him love her continuously, stay with her, stick with her. But that curse had been broken, right? And then the second one, the bed caught fire. So they were no longer sleeping with each other. And she was distressed. She was stressed. And he was confused, but he made his decision at the end. And then the third one, you all ended up married. And she was still trying to intervene. But she lost. She'd already lost. So I feel like this word is to let you all know that this is the end of it. You no longer have to fight or stress or struggle or worry about that third person that was intervening, or that ex that was intervening in your relationship the entire time that you were dating this person up into your marriage. God is not going to allow it. The witchcraft is broken. Whatever she was doing, it's broken. You won.